everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk Terror. I'm Celia, and today we're gonna get really meta. I'm joined by Emmy-nominated actress and comedian Kiran Deol, the star of the upcoming zom-com thriller Didn't Die. Now, her character and I have a lot in common. Spoiler, she's a podcaster. So of course, we're gonna talk about all the fun podcasting things, but also zombies, emotional baggage, and its premiere at Sundance. Let's get into it. Hello.
Hi, how are you, Celia? It's so nice to finally meet you.
You as well. You as well. And before we get into anything, Kieran, we're going to have you introduce yourself. So please tell us who you are and what we're going to talk about today.
My name is Kiran Deol. I think we should all acknowledge that Celia is very pretty. Love
Thank
her.
you.
Love
Girl,
her work.
same.
Love her work. I'm here to discuss the Sundance horror movie Didn't Die that's going to be premiering in theaters on March 6th. And we'd love for you to go see it.
That's so great. I didn't know that. So I wanted to watch this so bad. And I was like, I even went on Sundance's website and I was like, man, I wish I would have known like earlier and then I could have like signed up to go see it. So I looked at like literally everything else that I could, but knowing that it's going to come out on the 6th, I'm like, yay. So that's
Have you seen this
even
movie
better.
yet?
No, I haven't. So it's
Oh
like,
my God. So what,
yeah,
this is like, now this is like a whole, now I got to get you, this is now all about just getting you there.
yes, for sure. So I do know, I know enough, but I need to see it
I know, I
also.
believe it. I believe it,
Yeah.
but you need to see it, and then when you do see it, you need to tell me what you think.
Oh, for sure. You will
Yeah.
be hearing from me. Maybe I'll do a review. Who knows?
Yeah, good, bad, ugly. I want to hear it all.
So tell us just a general, like a sentence or two about what Didn't Die is about.
Yeah, I would say it's about a podcaster who loses her audience during the zombie apocalypse and is trying to regain them. And so there's elements of comedy, but it's also kind of it's an homage to George Romero and Night of the Living Dead. So it's in black and white, and it features this really amazing ensemble family, and it's kind of examining grief, I think, and what it's like to experience loss and how you experience, this threat outside of you, and what you do in all those in-between moments. So there's really kind of a beautiful, I would say, art house zombie, serio comic, multi-toned facet to the movie that I think is really unique for horror lovers, which I know are your people.
Yes, I definitely got that homage to Romero. It feels like it
Yeah.
from what I've seen. It definitely feels like it, and you guys did a great job on that. If you if you in real life had your own podcast
Yes.
and a zombie apocalypse happened, how
Yes.
long do you think you would be keeping the podcast going? Because for me, mainly this is like kind of a side thing that I do.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk Terror as a whole is mainly a written, I write reviews on movies, and then I kind of do this also to get a little extra like let's talk to the filmmakers. If a zombie apocalypse happened tomorrow, I would not do this for sure. It's a lot of work. The writing for me, I'm from a journalism background, so that takes like 2 seconds. That's super easy. I can do that all day, every day. But it's like, man, I would not even be in the mindset to
It's
continue
really
a
funny because to me,
podcast.
I always joke with people, I'm like, talking is my passion. It's like the number one thing I think I love to do more than almost anything else. So I don't think that would be the problem. I was like, who is editing the podcast
Yeah,
in the zombie apocalypse and who is publishing the podcast? That would be the issue. I was like, who's editing it? We need a good editor. Who's
yeah.
doing the mix? Let's get into the technical details. That would be my issue. I mean, maybe some of the zombies could be interns, and
Hey,
help you
maybe.
out. We don't know what all their skills are, and it's possible that we might be able to put them to yeah, if you just behind glass or something so they don't eat your brains out, but
That's a good point. I don't even know if I would take an editor though, because it's like I do all of it myself. So I'm like, I don't know if I
amazing.
can trust you, zombies. I don't know.
Well, that sounds like something we want to discuss in therapy.
Yeah. Yes.
Not with a
Yes.
zombie, not with a zombie, but with a human therapist.
But I mean, during the apocalypse, those will be hard to come by too. So what
But still, the first
what
to
are
get
we
you.
to do? Exactly. Picking people's brains.
Exactly. There,
So,
yeah.
so you play a character, Venita,
Uh-huh.
and she obviously has a podcast. What would Venita's podcast tagline be, do you think?
I love this question. I thought it would be fun if it was die trying.
Yeah,
Do you see? Because this is a play on the 50 Cent title, Get Rich or Die Trying, but
she's
it's
not going to get
also,
rich.
she's not getting rich and it's
No,
also an apocalypse. So die trying, die trying.
I
I think
like
it's
that.
go big or go home, but die trying made me laugh. So
Yeah, I like
final
that a
answer.
lot.
Final answer. Did I get points? Points?
Yes, yes. However many you want, it's up to you. You can choose 10 points. 10 points for Gryffindor. So, podcasting, it can feel it can feel a lot of ways. It can feel very intimate, like I'm getting to know you right now, which is really nice. But
Yeah.
also, it's like we're behind screens, we're not seeing each other in real life. So in
Yeah.
that way, it's like the total opposite. Does that compare to filmmaking at all? Is it like the same or
I think that's a
tell me?
really good, that's a really good question. I was thinking about this. I was like so I'm a stand-up. I'm a stand-up comedian, and in stand-up, you're in a community, and it's a feedback loop. It's a feedback conversation with the audience, which really makes it more of a conversation. But when you aren't with the audience and you're observed after the fact, it's a very different kind of art form. So I actually think the filmmaking and podcasting are very similar in that way. And I think that's why when I'm on podcasts, I prefer to do them with other people. I always think Mark Maron at the beginning of his, he's just talking into a microphone. And
Yes.
um, in this movie, Benita's doing a lot of talking into the microphone herself. There's something very intimate about that, though.
Yes.
Like, because it's somebody, I think there's something about somebody in your ears or somebody that you could watch on a screen by yourself or somebody that you could watch on your phone by yourself that makes people feel an almost more parasocial connection to the person. Um, but I think they're very different kinds of satisfying.
I didn't realize you were also a comic. I love that.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense because your character has this kind of like she's just funny from based on what I've seen. She has this kind of like ironic funness to her, and it's kind of like it reminds me of like that meme of the dog who's sitting in a house and the house is on fire and he's like, this is fine. And just
Yeah,
everything is fine.
yeah.
It kind of feels like that. So I can definitely see your comedian
It's a little
talent.
bit like we would say kind of Daria, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a little bit of Daria. And I think one of Mira's thoughts, the director, she kind of said it's like, you think you would be, you think you would be like the ripped guy if you were in the zombie apocalypse, but you're you.
yeah.
You're you.
You're the same.
You're
It's
the
just
same
it's just
person.
everyone's dead now.
It's gonna be you. So if
Yeah.
you're kind of like sarcastic and a little shitty and like kind of over it when everyone's alive, you're gonna kind of be like that when everyone's dead, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, this is so annoying that I have to go kill these zombies and get milk. And, you might try
Yeah.
to murder me." Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think there's something very the one that I thought did this very well. I mean, obviously, this is a massive film, but like one Leo in One Battle After Another. Did you see that?
No, but I would love to hear about it.
He's a like he's like a he's like a fat past his prime,
Mm,
like drugged out revolutionary, and he can't get it together. He's supposed to save his daughter, but he can't get it together. He can't jog, he can't run, he can't change out of his stupid robe. He falls off a building, spoiler alert. But it's very funny. It's like just very funny because it's like he's not, why would he be, you know what I mean? Like, why would he be
right.
better? He's not better just because I just think there's something very funny about not being a person who meets the moment. You're you,
Yeah.
and you're going to meet the moment as you. And that conflict is actually, yeah, I think that could be like very funny, to me, you know. Um, this film, I think she's glib. I think it's also a bit of it's a bit of a mask, you know, because it's like,
For
why are
sure.
you gonna take everything so hard, uh, with all this murder around? It's like, is it gonna help to be a bummer on top of everything too? No.
Yeah. Yeah, why make it harder than it already is?
Yes.
You have to enjoy at least a little bit of life. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Cling on to some kind of like just this much hope so
Yeah. I'm
that we
really
all just
curious.
don't rot.
I'm curious how it plays for you. I'm also curious like how the movie plays for women versus men, and like just like I remember when we got a lot of reviews from Sundance, so the reviews out of Sundance, it was really interesting to hear the character descriptions as like snarky, glib, like, and but then some of the women were like hilarious. Do you
Yeah,
know, like hilarious, sharp, you know,
because we
um,
understand.
yeah, takes no shit. And they're the same things,
Yeah.
right? But they're different. It was really interesting to hear just
There's
like,
there's a nuance to it.
yes, the nuance on how you see a woman who is coping in maybe a flawed way, but isn't
Yeah.
necessarily performing for you in a way you're used to. And I think that's what made the character quite interesting. And hearing that reflected in reviews, it was really very differently than I perceived it, you know? And so always very interesting to hear how different people experienced the movie.
Do you like playing flawed characters? Is
Oh
it
my
more
God,
fun? Is it more fun than playing like straight on perfect in every way?
yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's the one real privilege of independent film. I think it's one of the big privileges of like the horror space is that
Yes.
I think most people, got into being a performer because maybe they did it as a kid or theater or like arcs over time. We got interested in storytelling. And what's interesting, like as an artist, is playing an arc over time. But in order to do that, you really have to be given the opportunity to do that. And so I think there's something so challenging and exciting just creatively about it, and yeah, it's kind of the dream, I think.
Now, we talked about how Venita is, she's this funny lady just trying to make the best of her situation. She's continuing her podcast, even though like it's dwindling audience and all that. Is there a specific moment where maybe she realizes, all right, like I'm not this ripped person. I'm not like my confidence is down the tank. Does that happen in the movie, or do you think she kind
Yeah,
of like
yeah, and
still pushes forward?
I think it's kind of, there's like I think there's kind of like a secret in the movie that I won't spoil, that I think the whole family is kind of running from, and it's ironically over a podcast. Like she's like over the podcast with Vincent, like an old, friend, that there's like a, I think you finally feel the kind of curtain drop.
Yeah.
And I think you see glimpses of it before that, but I was thinking about this question because you were kind enough to send them in advance, which is going to make me sound like less of an idiot. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But you know, earlier in the film, you see her, what the private persona is versus what the public persona is. And she is really scared at night, and you see that. But I think there's something different between experiencing grief alone
Hmm.
and fear alone versus being vulnerable enough to let that out relationally and let that veneer crack between people and trusting to bring another person into that vulnerability,
Yeah.
that I think exhibits growth for her and expansion.
See, I love hearing about this from people who actually make movies because now I can go in with like a whole new perspective on not only what I should be looking for, but like, wow, I never really thought about it that way before. I love this.
Yeah, it
I'm
but
very excited.
it's also like a good question because it was like it I was like we see it earlier, but it really I think it really lands later because it's not
Yeah,
until um it's confession, you know what I'm saying? It's like confessional. I
yeah,
think it's exactly what you're talking about with the podcast. It can be confessional to a person, but I can think in a movie, what makes it beautiful is the shared experience with another person on screen and then your relationship to their relationship, right? Because
right.
it's really a very relational media as opposed to kind of a parasocial one. And I say parasocial with love.
Yes.
But parasocial in the sense that like it feels like it's you and it's you and the creator, you and the somebody's in your ears. I always think
Yes.
about that with the podcast. Somebody is literally in your ears. Of course, it feels they're literally. It's like a voice inside of your brain. I mean, this is how much more intimate can you get?
Right. Yeah. It's funny because I'm wearing headphones and I didn't used to wear headphones. I've only done it in like this past month. Started wearing headphones while doing podcasts. I haven't gotten there quite yet. It doesn't really feel like someone's in my brain yet. I wonder
So
if that's going to happen.
question, when I'm talking, do you hear me through your headphones?
Yep.
And doesn't you don't get the feeling like they're closer to you than if
No.
you really?
Maybe I'm weird. I don't know.
No, because it's like there's a piece, I remember seeing it during COVID. It was Simon McBurney is this incredible British theater guy, and I'm not going to remember the name of the piece now, but it was available online. It was a theater piece, and it was available online for a while. The whole thing is with like sound, and you're supposed to listen to it in your earphones, in your like with earphones. And as he's figuring something out, he's in the rainforest or whatever. He is like, what do I do? And you hear the sounds of the rainforest.
Yeah.
It's like you are him. It's like the voice inside your head, but it's his voice and all of the things he says, and it's such a trip because
Y-
it's you realize like it's somebody in your ears. I'm talking to you, but this is he's talking as you.
I think I would feel different if I had earbuds in because
Ah,
those feel like, okay, this is like my skull is vibrating. But
yeah. Well,
earphones, I think I'm more like I can feel it on my ear so I know that something is here. I think that's probably what it
sure.
is.
Versus, but isn't that funny that
Yeah.
Apple really wants to get Apple loves getting in there. Apple.
I'm not an Apple girly, so I
Yeah,
wouldn't know.
I was like, Tim Cook wants to be in there. I don't think it's a coincidence. That's conspiracy for your fans. He's trying to get in there.
So we hit on this being in homage to Romero and his very famous zombie films. How does it feel to be part of that world now? Even though it's not like straight on, like this is within the Night of the Living Dead world, but it's still the same kind of vibe. How does that feel?
It feels really surreal if I'm being honest with you, and because it's not out yet to an audience, it feels like I'm just excited for how people experience it and interpret it on a large scale. Like that was really exciting to see at Sundance and get to see
Yeah.
people interact with the movie and how it like lived with them. But I feel like that's going to be a question I'll better be able to answer in like a couple months once we um, see how the conversation it starts with the horror fans who are such a kind of dedicated and really incredible kind of audience.
Do you think people will get that kind of vibe even if they weren't told that this was sort of alluding to it?
These horror people are so smart. I mean, they're really like a clever, deep cut kind of true true lovers of the genre. So I feel like I've learned a lot from being around just the amount that I've been around them because
Yeah.
I wasn't a big horror person, but it's people don't know one movie, they know like 50
I
movies.
was I was gonna ask, are you a horror person? But
Yeah,
okay, okay.
I got into horror. I think I think the one thing I'll say about horror, I've really enjoyed it and I've loved it both because of the opportunities that it provides creatively for filmmakers and because the genre, there's such an appetite in the genre. But I
Yes.
think it lets you do stuff that's really left of center artistically. And I find that very exciting. I got to be a part of a movie called Destroy All Neighbors with Jonah Ray and Alex Winter in like practical prosthetic like 80s like Phil
I
Jackson
love
kind of
it.
makeup. Yeah, so it was like really like big and silly, but also also kind of had a lot of heart and humor. And so I just think it's such a kind of exciting playground, and I like that it's based in this comedy is based in surprise,
Hmm.
right? You surprise someone with laughter, and fear feels like the twin
It's
in a
all about
way.
timing.
Yeah, it's timing and it's fear. And to see how different filmmakers approach fear, right? Some of them it's jump scares and it's really like camera angles and jump scares. And some of them it's left of center. And some of them it's there's really, I think, a limitless way to approach how you address those really core emotions, just like in comedy. And I find that artistically really exciting.
I'm so glad you said that because a lot of people who don't like horror movies think that it's just like, oh, it's just a lot of blood and they're just jumping out and scaring people. It's like, no, there's a ton. You just haven't found the right movie yet. There's
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
so many subgenres out there that are completely like you would never think they're horror, but they are, you know?
yeah, yeah.
For example, Silence of the Lambs, like that's very clearly, I think everyone now is like, oh yeah, that's for sure a horror film. But when it came out, no, it's a thriller, it's not horror. But it's like you're talking about a cannibal and a serial killer. It's a horror movie.
Psychological, this idea that yes, that sometimes these psychological thrillers, they'll be like, that's not horror because it's not, there isn't enough gore or whatever. It
Yeah.
doesn't end in this murder, or what was the one with Demi Moore that just came out, The Substance?
Yes.
Like it needs that ridiculous ending. But I'd actually argue that no, it's the horror film is all along, and the ending is almost like the cathartic, almost like this
Yeah.
cathartic release or caricature, or like maybe, I would actually argue that the horror is greater when it's more stylized and anchored to something like beauty standards in
I was
women.
gonna say being a woman.
Yeah,
Just being a
yeah.
woman.
That's a real horror story.
That's for another episode.
That's a real horror film,
Exactly. So Romero, he used zombies as social commentary, very famously.
Yeah.
Does Didn't Die have any kind of like hidden social commentary in there, do you think?
It's a great that I really loved that question because I know that when we made the film, we were coming kind of out of COVID and looking at this idea of um, sheltering in place and something
Yeah.
existing externally and encroaching, but also this idea because in COVID, obviously everyone was kind of stuck in place. And what does that look like? What does all that time look like when you're just waiting? Um, I remember like the first thing I did out of college was a documentary about women soldiers in Nepal when Nepal
Hmm.
was kind of going through the revolution. And one of the things I remember being really striking because I remember before that I'd only seen like reports from like the BBC or whatever from war zones, and and this was very naive. I was quite young, but it's like if somebody's in Iraq or somebody's in Afghanistan, it's like right after the bomb goes off and they're like, we're here on the scene, and it's
Yeah.
always chaos, right? But the reality of horror and especially war zones is that it's a normal day and then it's 9/11.
Hmm.
And that's what makes it terrifying is because of the way it interrupts normal life. You're walking through the market just like a normal Tuesday and a bomb goes off. It's
Right.
the frequency of horrific things happening in unexpected ways more frequently, but it is not bombs 24/7. You're not on the beach of Normandy the entire time. But this is a very interesting way to think about time, right? And what horror looks like. And in this way, I think the film I hope it has legs for this reason, because even though we made it during COVID, I was like, really, any outside threat that is disrupting a sense of safety or regulation, I think is applicable. I think it could just as easily be um, totalitarianism, kind of like with
Yeah.
the one flew over the cuckoo's nest kind of vibe. I think it could very easily be, this disease of fascism that's outside and the way it
Right.
threatens what's inside. Because Romero is really making a case for, kind of racism, was kind of at the heart of his film. And I think what's really really cool about this genre specifically, and one thing I do like as a film lover find really fascinating, is I was like, oh, we made it during COVID, but I actually think it's going to be very relevant to like the moment that we're having in America today. If you extrapolate, what are the biters? What is that external fear? What is that? Is that ICE? Is that what's outside?
Right.
Which was another thing you saw in One Battle, right? It's like he's been working on that Thomas Pynchon thing for like 30 years, but people just felt like it was so applicable because of the detention centers, etc. But he's speaking to such universal themes, and we circle, historically, we as people have these like, kind of like, I feel like we're grappling as humanity, we're grappling with like these kind of like cyclical kind of evils that
Yeah.
will come in. And so any evil of the day can be those zombies, even if I bet you could watch Romero now through the lens of BLM, or through
Oh,
the lens
yes.
of like Me Too, or through, if you were, it's, yes, it's that movie from that time, but I bet similar themes. It's just like when you read a great novel, right? It's like you know, if you read Animal Farm, you're like, who was he talking about? Was he
Yeah,
talking?
and now we know who he's talking about. Now we know. We know exactly.
Yeah.
How did you spend your time during COVID?
I think sad and drinking, um, and I actually, and then I was in England for a bunch of it, and I did some writing. I did a lot of staring at walls.
Yeah.
I did a lot of wall staring. I remember feeling really. The other thing is, it hit us hard because like stand up is one of the biggest parts of my life, and that's
I can
audiences
imagine
and
how that was.
crowds. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were doing these Zoom comedy shows over Zoom. And do you remember people were doing those Zoom happy hours?
Yes.
Oh
I
God.
had to go to one once or twice for work, and I'm like, guys, I wouldn't do this normally. Like, I
This is,
don't
I think it's better, like it's not even close to the same,
know.
right? Like this is a great, we're not in the same city. It makes total sense why we're talking. And obviously
Right.
this is a conversation, but it is not the same as being in the same room as another human being,
Right.
especially for the human connection dopamine hit that I think you could still have a great conversation, but it's not the same as like what you get from being in person with people.
Right.
I just literally had a buddy who was like, "Oh, like we'll do a little like writing session over Zoom," and I was like, "You live here. I will not do it over Zoom. We either do it in person or we don't do it." And he was like, "Relax." It's a very nobody thinks this way. I understand that makes me sound like a dinosaur from 1850. Like who is this woman from the 1900s or whatever? But yeah, how did you spend your COVID?
So I am very introverted, so it was fantastic for me. I just got to be at home all the time. However,
Did you hit a point though? Did you hit a breaking point or no?
no, but no, it's been fantastic. I've been working from home ever since, and it's been great. But
Oh,
I will say, I was pregnant during COVID, and it was very frightening. Like I've there's nothing we could have done about it. I had my kid, nothing bad happened, but
yeah.
it's just, oh man, having to go to the hospital. My husband couldn't come in on like all the appointments, and it was just like, man, like if something crazy. I went into labor that October, so like even before the vaccines, and it was a whole experience that I man,
How
I
was your kid? How was your kid after?
normal.
Okay, but
Perfectly fine. He
did your
didn't
kid
get
have
sick or
to
anything.
did your kid have to so my mom has preschools,
Hmm.
And she was saying that the people who were babies during COVID, so you were a pregnancy during COVID, the people who
Yeah.
were babies during COVID, she said is the most unruly she's ever seen the class. Like their social skills were the lowest of any toddlers that had ever come in. So usually it's a
Yeah.
pretty open plan preschool. You don't need to have barriers between the classrooms. She goes, for the first time, we had to put up barriers between the classrooms because these kids did not have enough socialization and they were just like off the
Yeah,
walls.
I can imagine. So no, actually my son, his name is Remy. He turned out perfectly normal, like the same as you or I would have grown up.
Yeah.
He's perfectly socialized. Like he's not even like an iPad kid. You know, we constantly have like stuff on all the time, but he'll sometimes tell us, "Oh, if you're gonna have it on, you can like turn on lo-fi or something, just to have like the background play, or just turn it off. I don't need it on right now." Yeah,
Yeah.
perfectly fine. But it helped because both my husband and I we're from the same neighborhood. Like we've known each other since middle school. We were all
Oh,
living at
that's
home, so
so
like he got
wholesome.
plenty of time with family members. So
Oh,
that helped out a lot.
totally.
He didn't start going to like daycare or anything until well after that,
Yeah, yeah. But
for
if you have a
obvious
whole,
reasons. Yeah.
but you have a whole family, if you have it's not just you and your husband, but it's like,
Well, not only that, but I was working from home, and all of
yeah,
my bosses through that time were like, "Yeah, we understand. You're fine. Like, just have your
yeah,
baby
yeah.
at home. It's perfectly understandable." But yeah, man, COVID, it was a whole, I not something I would ever want to experience ever again. Because even though I had a great time being an introvert, it was still like
Yeah.
I could see that this is not normal. This is not
Yeah.
normal.
I have enough, like I was one of those people where I had friends who definitely said that. But what was also interesting is how many people, how many comedians like got on the internet and they made the most of it and then and
Yeah.
that also strikes me as really, it's really interesting to be able to take a downturn as a business opportunity and like what does that mean and look like and what is there room for like I don't know, there's something so I don't know how to feel about that. That we're like, it's an interesting thing with capitalism that you're not supposed to grieve. You're not supposed to have
Yeah.
feelings. You're supposed to figure out how to use this to make money kind of vibes. Like, no, I found it, I found it tough, and I wouldn't say that I definitely need alone time, but I'm probably a mix. I'm introvert,
Hmm.
extrovert. So if I'm around people too much, my head gets too full and I'm like,
Yeah.
meh, grumpy. But with no interaction was tough.
Yeah.
You need
It,
at least a little pod. You need a
at
pod.
least a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sundance. I've never been to Sundance. How was that experience? Have you been to Sundance before, or is this your first time there?
This was the first time with a feature film and like
Okay.
being like the lead in a feature film. So it was Sundance is a really, I mean, I describe it as like um it feels like moviegoer summer camp in the winter time. It's it's really cool. It's such a good I think that there's something, it's gotten so much bigger and more commercial, and there's like the Chase Sapphire Lounge and stuff. But I think at its heart, what's cool is like Robert Redford wanted to start this thing for artists and for his artist friends to come out and play and have this like alchemy. And there's such a pureness to
Yeah.
that gesture and a place where it's art first over commerce and where you get to talk with other people who are making things and you get to see other people who are making things. I feel like it's a little bit like it's like plugging your spirit into a an electric like into a socket so that you can kind of fill up for you know not being judged for a moment on the dollars and cents of things, which is obviously a big part
Right.
of the entertainment business. It's a business, but it's nice that like that place feels like a little bit of a respite for the art of the business, and it's really special. You should go when it's in where's it going? Boulder? I think it's going to Boulder.
I mean, if I can make it out there, then
Yeah.
sure.
Where do you live?
So I'm currently in Missouri,
Missouri. You can make it. You
not
could do
by
it.
choice.
You could do it. You could do it.
Well, it's not so much a matter of like wanting to, because like obviously, yeah, I want to go to Sundance. It's a matter
Yeah.
of time, money,
Yeah,
work,
getting
like
there.
PTO.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
lot of things that go
I love
into
the way
it.
it's like put your kid in the backpack, and then put your baby in the backpack and just,
Well, it was easier. Have only been living in Missouri for 2 years. We're a military family, so we were previously in Virginia, and then it was so easy to do stuff because it's like we'll just take him to the grandparents' house all the time. But he's always welcome there. Now
um,
it's a little bit harder because we don't have that like no one's here with us. So and it's like I
yeah.
want to go with my husband. I don't want to go by myself. But some of these things we can't take a 5-year-old with us. So
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
yeah.
having the support of the extended family is like really big. For the second half of COVID, I was in England and I had a ton of family there. Makes a huge difference. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
it just makes a huge difference. And you see that in this movie too. I mean, it's like this character is somebody who left home to go travel the country making a podcast and then kind of comes back home for this anniversary episode and kind of all of the trappings of all of the good, bad, and the ugly of coming home. It's like all of your baggage of coming home, but also the comfort and the familiarity of it, which we all have our own relationship to.
Yeah. Now, you said you read some of the reviews after it premiered at Sundance. Did you pay attention at all to the audience reaction while it was actually playing?
I did, yes.
What was that
I
like?
will say it is very difficult. To me, it's very hard to watch the movie. I don't know if how other people are about this, but I find it very difficult to watch the movie with an audience because it's, I think it's because there's nothing you can do and
Yeah.
you don't know what people are experiencing. So, and I think it's also because I'm used to stand up, and stand up, I'm used to the reaction of laughter. And if you don't like the direction it's going, you change what you say. But you can't, it's like a movie is playing and it's just playing. And it
Yeah.
can be, I remember a friend of mine with Mira's first movie, I remember she would say to me in the theater, she goes, just because they're not laughing, it doesn't mean they're not enjoying themselves.
Right, right. I mean, we do it all the time. If
Yeah.
someone texts me something and it's really funny, I'll type LOL and like 10 smiley laughing emojis, but I'm not physically like
Yes,
laughing.
yes, yes,
It's
yes, yes,
still
yes.
funny though.
Yeah, yeah. Or it's like you just experience it differently. You could be
Yeah.
having a range of emotions. You don't know what people are feeling or thinking. There's something really amazing about the collective experience of being in a cinema with other people and watching something together and getting to see it with a group of people. But I found it hard to, I just find it hard. It's just hard to watch. It's just hard but I don't know if some people might love it. For me, I find it a little bit difficult to watch it with other people. But I've always kind of been like that, you know.
Were you in the theater like turned around, like trying to look at the audience behind you?
That's the other thing. It's like I also know from comedy, like sometimes somebody's face will be like this, but that could also just be their face.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't judge them. Some of those people come up to you and they're like, "Hey, I loved that. That was great," but they don't know what their faces look like. So you kind of have to like not try to ingest it. I think the Q&As can be quite fun.
Mm.
Getting to, because you know the movie and you've seen the movie and then they see the movie and then hearing what they're curious about or what resonated. I think that part is fun. It's just the physical sitting through the film is a little, it's still a little nerve-wracking to me. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. I feel like I'm supposed to be like, it's
That's
okay.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
but
you can
I
feel however you want to feel about it.
you're like, it's 2026.
Right. Like
Feel your feelings. Yeah.
exactly. So, last question. For people who didn't see the movie, including me, what do you want everyone to take away from this?
Ah, that's I this was a hard
If
question.
anything, and maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just I hope you like it. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just that.
I did write a thing for this. I wrote a cheesy little thing. I was like, I hope that people see themselves in the characters. And I was like yeah, I can't read this out loud to you.
It's
It's
okay.
too, yeah, I was like, it's too, ugh. But I would say I hope that people I'm really, I hope that it stays with them in whatever way, shape, or form it stays with them. And I'm really curious to hear what people take away from the movie, as opposed to putting on them that they should take any certain type of thing away. I know we tried to make something really specific to the resources we had, the people we had available. There was a largely improvised, like very friends and family style to this movie, and I'm really curious how that resonates and how that hits audience members, and people who watch the movie. So I'm definitely like, DMs are open, very kind of like very I'm genuinely very curious to hear how it hits for other, for actual
Right.
horror fans and people. Because I certainly have my ideas about what the movie is, but I think that's a beautiful thing about any movie or art. Like, I thought it was very, like, I think One Battle, I'm only talking about that because I saw it so recently, but it was like, that movie to me was like, I heard all these reviews about how it's like so politically relevant, and I like laughed out loud like 6 times in that movie. I was like, this is like one of the funniest things Paul Thomas Anderson has ever done. And I thought it was like very hilarious in many places. And I don't think I took out of it what other people, I don't think I took out of it what other people took out of it at all. Do you know what I mean? Like, I took something totally different. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, it
You
is.
you make something really that you want to make, and that hopefully all you're trying to do, I think all any filmmaker is trying to do, is get a vision that they feel proud of, and then you put it out. And then it's the beautiful part about any piece of art is that everyone gets to have an opinion. I don't have to like your opinion. Like, you don't have to like my work. You don't have to like, you know what I mean? Like, but everyone gets an opinion. It's art. It's like with comedy. Like, you get to have an opinion, even if you're just a troll on the internet. You get to have an opinion.
Yep.
That is your right. And I think there's something, I don't always need to personally hear it, but but I do think I think it's really cool that everyone gets to feel a type of way about a thing, because it was made for you. You were the audience, so it's made for you.
That's one thing that I really love about horror is that everyone definitely does have an opinion
Yeah.
and everyone is also correct. You can have
Yes.
like the best movie ever, but on the other hand, think it's the worst movie ever, and you're both correct.
Yes.
It's really hard to do that with any other genre. Like if it's a musical and the music absolutely sucks, that movie sucks. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It just sucks. But it's like if a horror movie has bad effects, it's like, yeah, they suck, but also that was really awesome to look at?
But isn't even the mute? It's like it's all subjective at the end
Oh
of the
yeah.
day. It's all subjective. It's art. I was thinking about this, like, with that. I watched that Timothy Chalamet one.
Hmm.
With this ping pong player.
Yeah.
I did not care for this movie at all. I did not care for this movie. I said to myself, I said, if every executive in Hollywood was Padma Lakshmi, like if I was every executive in Hollywood and I just kept casting Padma Lakshmi and everything, I feel like all the people, all of those executives, like all of those white guys would be like, what is with all this Padma Lakshmi content? I do not understand this Padma Lakshmi material. That's how I feel about it. Like, but it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? It's
It'll
just,
it'll run its course and then we'll have a new person to be cast in every single
we'll
every
have a
single
new
thing ever.
Timothy. But the point is, it's like, I don't know that guy. He's probably great. He's probably nice. He's probably cool. You know what I mean? It's like he's probably out here just doing his best. And it's like, that's just my opinion. Do you know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
like, if I put the time into watching the movie, I get to have my opinion. And a lot of, critics, they have a different opinion than I have, and that's cool. And that's absolutely their right too. But I don't actually think that, I think it's really the beautiful thing about art, even though sometimes, it's like that it's made for you. It was made for you, the audience, to watch it, and you get to feel how you want to feel about it, and then we can all talk about it and discuss it, and that's like kind of a great point of contact. Or it's a way that it's a way to stories are just a way to interpret how we're interpreting life, right? So it's like you're going to see it lensed very specifically through how it also, I think it's a mirror. It also reflects a lot.
Right.
Your taste reflects a lot of you as well, so in your point of view. So yeah. So for us, I would just say the movie is releasing. Didn't Die is releasing in cities across the country. It's on Didn't Die Film, which is on Instagram. It's also on my personal Instagram, Shit from Kiran. I'll be posting about it a ton, so you can see. So March 6th we start. It's New York, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Philly, DC, and it'll be starting in Los Angeles on March 20th. And then it'll be rolled out, I think, as movies are, to the various other platforms. But I hope that people get a chance to check it out and have what I hope is a positive opinion, but whatever their opinion is, because that's their right.
And that's it for today. A huge thank you to Kiran for talking to me, podcaster to podcaster. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and subscribe and visit me on all my other stuff on Instagram and letstalkterror.com. And of course, go see Didn't Die if it's playing in a city near you. I'll leave all the info in the description. And until next time, stay spooky.